Peace, God. Peace, Goddess. Peace and blessings. This entry number 46. Another form of codependency is when who you are depends on how you're received, perceived, and treated. I am who I am regardless of outside stimuli. Sovereignty. There is no such thing as bad energy. Everything is energy. It's how you receive it and what you do with it. Conquer and master. Harness, focus, transmutation. There is no problem when I'm the equation. Inco said that. I need. Possession is experienced when the energy conquers you. God is the only spirit allowed to be housed in my temple. The spells that these witches cast and the potions that they conjure have no power over me. I am covered by the blood of Jesus Christ. No weapon formed against me shall prosper. Amen. Selah. I wrote this on the Scorpio moon on the 20th of February. This is the 46th entry. This is a Scorpio moon, and this is the image that I got. If you see the image, it's showing like each circle or portal or chakra is showing something I'm bound by or blocked by or attached to. Like this is the root, and this is the hourglass symbolizing time. This is the sacral symbolizing lust. This is the solar plexus symbolizing community, group, other people, and being self-conscious. This is the heart chakra, showing desensitivity by stepping on a bug. This is the throat chakra, showing the magnifying glass, showing perfectionism and hyper-focusing. This is the third eye chakra, or the sixth chakra, showing a play with the happy and sad face, or a laugh now, cry later. And this is the connection, symbolizing being blocked by attachments or possession. And the third eye, or the yin and yang, all of energy being rooted on the earth, the soul star and the earth star. So basically, like, all right, so I had this dream, right? And in the dream, like, I saw the first three dimensions of my spirit. In this dream, I saw the first three dimensions of my spirit. My root chakra, my solar plexus, and my sacral chakra. And so on the first, like, when I walked in, it's like a casino. On the first level, it was just a bunch of people talking. And it was like mostly red. Like the whole floor had a red hint or a tint to it. And it was mostly people talking in like groups and talking loud and like just out in the open. And I was in the middle at first. And this showed like this symbolized like being self-conscious and a fear of what other people think. And then some men that were like shadows, like they were coming with guns and they started chasing. And this symbolized like the fear of death, the fear of fatality, and so on and so forth. Like, but I ran, and I ran into the second floor, and the second floor was mostly orange. It had an orange tint to it. The walls were orange. And while I was on the second floor, there was like this line of women. It was just like, and I remember in the dream, each one was more beautiful than the last, like just, and I was like in this daze, like I had stopped running. And I was just like, wow. And like each one, like as they were like walking past, they were waving at me and I was waving at them and they were saying, hey. And it was just like a long line. And while I was, I remembered that these men were chasing, and I heard them run, like I heard their footsteps, and so I hid behind, like, away from this line, I hid behind this man, his wife, and these kids, or their kids. I was ducking like behind them, like kind of even like blending in, like, and they ran past and they went up and they kept going. And so then like I went to the third floor. And so like the second floor symbolized like my solar or my sacral chakra, and then it just showed like an influx of like a woman, like each, like, as I said, like more beautiful than the last. Like, and it was just like, it was showing like lust, and it was showing like desire and manifestation. And when I hid behind the married couple and their kids, this was like what society programmed me to like be or do. And because I started to wonder, like, when you were like awake so much, like you realize that like subconsciously you were programmed like most of your life and controlled most of your life. And it kind of makes you like think some of the things that you think you want, you really don't want. Like the whole concept of like the illusion of choice by giving you two parties when it really doesn't matter who they choose. Some of our options, like, were programmed to think within the matrix. Like, so we think we want some things, but we don't even know why we want them. Some, like, kind of like subliminal programming, like how your phone or Alexa works. Like, it hears you say the AI software in these devices, your TV, your smart TV, your phone, and the speaker, like, you hear things it picks up like the mic is constantly recording when the device has power. And it picks up certain keywords. And so you'll start to hear like if you have a program playing on Alexa or on your speaker, you'll start to hear ads about the things you've mentioned in between songs. Or if you're watching it on TV, these things will pop up like on your cell phone. They'll pop up when you're scrolling through social media. They'll pop up like, and so it's like subliminally, like you'll want something, and you'll wonder like, why do I want to go here? Why do I have like a craving for this food? Why do I have a desire for this? And it's because you're being subconsciously programmed to desire certain things. And so it's like a lot of times we think we make the choice or the decision to do something, but we're really like led, and we're by our programming. And so in my second chakra, like it was like the idea of free love, but it also like represented lust. And me hiding behind the program of what I think is right. And when I blended in with society, I thought like the married couple with the children. I blended in with society, and this is like something that's hoped by like, you know, like tradition in society and religion. And so they ran past and went on the third floor. And so when I got to the third floor, this was my solar plexus, it was yellow. And I had got blocked. Like, it was like, I tried to get through this door, but it was locked. And it was one of those chef doors, so it was like round. And then it had like the little moonlight window, or like the circle window, and it was like steamed, and like I wiped it and I looked through, and it was just like, it was like 15 chefs in there just cooking up. Like I saw like a pig like with an apple. I saw like, you know, it's like lasagna. I saw pizza. I saw like fish, steak, like barbecue, calamari. Like it was just like, it was all different like types of food. And then I woke up from the dream, and that's when I realized, like, it took me like a while to even realize what I had just saw. But it was my spirit. It was inside my spirit, the dimensions of my spirit, like, and the portals like through chakras. And I saw like, and I couldn't see any higher because I'm guessing like I was supposed to like master those first. And so like I saw like what was blocking my lower three chakras, and how like the first chakra, like when it's stemming, like that's the ground. And so energy like flows into us and out of us, and it works in a cycle, the same way like plants are grounded and rooted within the earth. The nutrients go in and it comes out. The same way they trade O2 with oxygen. Or carbon dioxide with oxygen. But we have to like ground Like, this is why, like, the chakras work like in a network. For you to, like, really raise your frequency and your vibration, you have to go through the channels of the chakras. Because when one, this is how you work on your energy, and this is how you do, like, a portion of what you're doing when you do shadow work. This increases, like, the bandwidth of your chakra and allows, like, your aura to be bigger and brighter, and your overall energy, your frequency, and your vibration to raise. When you unblock your chakras and you do your shadow work. And so, like, I saw, like, how it's affecting me, the lower 3 levels below the heart. The heart is the gateway between heaven and hell. That's the thin line. It's in the heart chakra. And so the first 3 levels, like, the fear was carrying into the 2nd level, the 3rd level, and working its way up. Because fear, like, put me in a stagnant energy in the 2nd chakra and in the 3rd chakra. But it was also showing me that it was a really deep vision, but I didn't, like, it took me a while to understand it because I was still, like, waking up. And so while I was in the 3rd, the solar plexus, it was showing that, like, all of these chefs are there. I go to buffets a lot. I go out and eat a lot. Like, a lot of times I eat other people's cooking, and I cook for myself sometimes, like, but it was showing me, like, I don't really know what I'm eating. And then I realized, like, why we pray. The same way we pray, like, people think, like, prayer is something that's, you know, we're praying to Sky Daddy, like, and we're begging for these things to make, you know, whole. But prayer is something that works, and it's powerful. It's something prayer is affirmation, and it's speaking things into existence, and it's you getting in accord with your higher self, and it's the act of blessing and speaking your will, like how God spoke the universe into existence. And so they've done studies, like, and saw how speaking to plants changes its growth. It either stunts the growth or it increases the growth to experience exponential growth. You can speak healing and life, or you can speak destruction. And so it's like, it's a thing to where when you pray or when you curse or when you speak, this is what you're doing. And so you're programming, like, your reality. And so when we pray before we eat, we're blessing our food. They've done studies and shown how water molecules change to geometrical shapes or disfigured. Monkey images, and water is alive. and water holds memory. And so a lot of times when we eat, like, we exchange food. Like, we exchange food as a way of eating. So if you were to order something on DoorDash, somebody would make your meal. Somebody would take a product that was farmed, butchered, manufactured, and ready to cook. That employee would cook the food. That food would be taken by a carrier and brought to your front door and given eat or dropped off. And so it has, the way food comes in contact with you, how it passes through so many energies. And a lot of times, like today's food, like they put stuff in the food, like preservatives. And so it's like, it's a thing to where you don't really know what you're eating. The same way I talk about domestication, the same way you feed your dog or your pet or your animal or your familiar. Same way, it doesn't know what it's eating in its controlled environment. You don't know what you're eating. And so we bless food, like, in order to heal it spiritually, because the spirit is stronger than matter. And people curse their food, knowingly and unknowingly. Like, if somebody, like, you can actually, like, this is why you can feel like when somebody is, like, has good cooking, because their energy is put into it. When somebody's, like, happy and filled with love, the food is healed and delicious. Everything holds memory. And so this was showing me, like, I read this verse in the Bible where it said, don't drink. Like, only drink waters from your own cistern. And so, like, it made me think that we, like, where we get our water from, where we get our food from, like, all the cross-contamination before it reaches us. Not just, like, the things, like, the additives or the pesticides, but also the energy. There's an energy transfer. And so it really made me think, like, and I seen that scene in the Matrix of where, like, somebody had got poison. And I just really thought about it. On my third, like, what was blocking my third chakra was also, like, stemming from my first chakra. Because there was a lot of people around talking, like, in groups. And I was right in the middle. That's how, like, I started in the dream. And so that affects my confidence by being self-conscious and caring what other people think. And shrinking in certain environments. And so I also saw how what I eat was affecting my third chakra. Food also holds energy, and it also holds information. The stomach is an extension of the brain. As above, so below. The same way we get codes and information from the earth by eating from the earth. And this is how psychometry works. Psychometry works by touching things. When you touch an inanimate object, you can receive energy, emotions, thoughts, and even imagery of the energy an inanimate object holds. Or even a place, like a house. My second chakra showed like lust, coveting, and like this like desire, and to the point to where it was distracting me. Like I didn't even care that like I was being chased anymore. Like at first this was like dire, like, you know, I was getting out, you know. I had ran from the first floor into the second floor. So it was like supposed to be this thing, but then when I saw them, I got distracted. And I even sat there for a while. And so this could show like things like lusting and coveting. And even like making like connections that aren't based in anything but superficial values. Like making shallow and superficial connections based in lust. Being distracted and losing focus because of lust and the desire to fornicate. And then also being like programmed to be the husband with the father and the kid, or to be the husband, be a father, have a wife, and have kids, and be a part, like, you know, of, and even by society, and by society and like because of tradition and culture and religion, this like reinstills this in your subconscious. And I was hiding behind this, and so this was like my desire. And this is what, like, I know, like, would be acceptable or looked at as right or good. And then I saw, like, how each like, blockage carries over into the other chakra. Like, that affects confidence. And then, like, I just really looked at it differently. Also, like, when when I made this image, they're the attachments. If you ever seen like the movie Looper, or not Looper, Jumper. The Looper actually has a really dope meaning about stopping a cycle of himself, like breaking the loop with him reincarnating and procreating. But the movie Jumper, if you ever seen the movie Jumper, when he had to fight against the Paladins, he could jump anywhere, like in space, in the universe. But he would get stopped by Paladins that would prod him. This would like disrupt his electric field, and then he couldn't jump anymore. He was stuck like wherever he was at, and he was trapped long enough for them to like detain him. And so this is like what happens like when you go under spiritual attack, because each of the chakras or a portal, they're not just energy vortexes, they're also portals. And so they all must come with you when you do time jump or you do go through portals. All of you must go through the portal. And if you notice, like when they got blocked, it was because their auric field was distorted. And what distorts the auric field? Your auric field is comprised of your chakras. It's a complication of all the vibrations, the frequencies of your chakras, creating your aura. And some people's auric field operates at a higher frequency and is wider in diameter, and some are shorter or smaller. And so this is how you go through portals and you jump timeline. You can't do that if you're caught up on like anything in the past. Like what it was showing, like I saw like in the dream the first 3 chakras, but this was some years ago. I saw in the first 3 chakras. And so I wondered what was the rest, like moving up. And as I had other dreams, I understood. Like having any fears blocks your root chakra. It blocks it. But I'm also understanding, like, I got the emotional wheel. Like, I'm an empath, but I don't know, like, the names of, like, every emotion. And sometimes, like, emotions get misconstrued. And so, like, even like this was like interesting for me. Like I actually sat down with like the emotional like wheel, like because I think it shows like 30 different emotions, I think. And it's like in a spectrum, because you know each emotion is, because energy is an emotion. Emotion is energy in motion. And so in the spectrum, each emotion produces a frequency and also a reaction. The body has a reaction. Like things like releasing adrenaline or increasing the heart rate or body temperature, or restricting blood flow and dropping the body temperature and sweat. And so like energy is like really deep. The body transmutes the energy, and the heart is the philosopher's stone. And so this is something to where it's like I looked at the color wheel, and as I looked at the color wheel, like I began to like really understand emotions and like doing shadow work, because sometimes I would think one emotion is actually different, like rage, anger, frustration. Like a lot of anger stems from like frustration. Which could turn into rage. But it's like really like dissecting like each emotion and really processing, like, because emotion is just energy, and when this energy like processes through your body, it's like anything. Like you could get fried, you could get shocked. Like if you know about electrical like circuitry, if you create a circuit, and this is why they have fuses, because if you send energy, electrical, which is an electrical current, through a circuit, it could potentially fry the hard drive or the circuit board and destroy the entire, like this could happen like in a video game or computer. It could destroy the entire circuit board. And this is why they have fuses. And so the current stops at the fuse and burns the filament, which breaks the circuit and stops the flow of the alternating current that comes from the wall. And so the same way energy, it could pass through our body, and our chakras work in a circuitry. There's a certain circuitry in the chakras. And so as we express emotion, we can bottle emotion and it could come out as rage. And this is where you see people like say stuff like, don't bust a blood vessel, like don't have a migraine, or don't get a headache. This is because their body is actually short-circuiting. Like when you see people go, or they make, in cartoons and stuff, it's like somebody's body is literally trying to process the energy, but it's literally being fried by the energy. Because the body transmutes energy. And it works through the subconscious. Because the body is the subconscious. And so somebody can process energy as bottling it up and becoming, and energy can literally be stored within the tissues and in the body. And this is why they have like acupuncture. And so this works as the body receiving energy and not being able to properly transmute it. And it come out as rage and literally like increase a person's heart rate. They could restrict their vessels, their blood vessels. Some people could like have an aneurysm, a stroke, a heart attack. And this is like them not being able to properly transmute the energy within their body. And it comes off as a short circuit. And so and so there's this the body, like, can the way the body transmutes energy is spiritual, and this could lead to disease itself. This could lead to possession, and this could lead to having a low vibration and manifesting bad juju or bad things in your life. And so the way you transmute energy is so crucial. And so the heart is the philosopher's stone. The thing I've been learning about energy is it doesn't matter, like, energy is neither good nor bad. It's all what you do with the energy. Yin and yang. Positive and negative. Magnetic and electric. Masculine and feminine. These principles, 1 and 0, are found out throughout the universe. And so life exists between this duality. All energy exists between this duality. And so it's not about the energy. It's not about the energy. It's how you interact with the energy. Like, if you study feng shui, there's just different types of energy. And so you can have the energy positioned in your room a certain way, which is just like a circuit, because everything is energy. You can have things positioned in your room a certain way to where it increases prosperity and love, or it increases the energy of love and romance. Or you can have certain things positioned in your room to where the energy creates bad love. The energy creates blockages and stagnancy. And so nothing is inherently bad. It's all about how you position it. So it's about what you do with the energy. You as God is. It's about what you decide to do with the energy. And the heart is the philosopher's stone. It is the bridge between the higher and the lower planes, and between heaven and hell, the thin line between love and hate. Because it's all about how you see the duality. So there are certain things we can do, like, with our energy. We classify energy as negative or positive, masculine and feminine, good or bad. But energy is simply energy. And so negative energy can become positive energy. Positive energy can become negative energy. And so what they've been teaching you, and a lot of people have been teaching this just out of common sense and common practice, but it's not efficient. It's not the best way to do it. It's not the best thing to do with energy. So you have to pay attention. And so all energy can potentially work in your favor. You can use energy for healing. You can use energy for manifesting. You can use energy just to feel good. You can use energy to heal yourself. You can use energy to manifest. You can use energy to heal others. You can use energy to connect to higher dimensions and open chakras within yourself. And so nothing is inherently bad. You simply have to know the conversion key to convert the energy using the Philosopher's Stone. Alchemy happens in the mind and in the heart. How you choose to receive the energy. And see, we see this like when Jesus died on the cross and how he talked about turning the other cheek and forgiving 77 times, which meant he would refuse to put out and return in the form of energy what it is that he did not wish to see, which was things like violence, killing, or violence, unalive, hatred. All these things, like, he's opposite of it, so he never put it back out. And so it's what you decide to do with the energy. Because some people, they take energy differently. Like, if somebody is hating on you, like they say, if you don't got no haters, you ain't popping. So like, if somebody's hating on you, you could take it a certain way to, like, it's like, why me? And you could become like a victim and be like, why me? You know, why everybody always talking about me? Why everybody, you feel me? Why it's always me? Like, or you could take that energy, like, and understand, like, you feel me? If you don't got no haters, you ain't popping. So it's like, really, like, it depends on how it enters your ego and your heart. Because you can see it as a form of love. Like, you can see everything as love, which converts it in the Philosopher's Stone, because that's the key to the Philosopher's Stone. The conversion codes are processed in the mind, and the key to the Philosopher's Stone is love, and that happens in the heart. And between these two dimensions, you create alchemy, where you transform the energy of negative and positive, and you put it out back into the universe as you see fit, as you can use it to heal yourself, heal others. You can use it, you can harness it and use it to access higher planes and dimensions within yourself and to unlock chakras. You can use it to manifest your dreams and your desires. It's energy. You have to pay attention. You can do so much with energy. And so when you do shadow work, it's important that you unlock your chakras. Because this increases the bandwidth and helps your overall frequency and the flow of energy. If you take that energy and you're unable to convert it, you may short circuit. This is where you see people crash out. They have aneurysms, heart attacks, high blood pressure, fainting, being lightheaded, having migraines, it turns like this energy, like when it's processed and it's put into your vessel it comes in your body and it sits as negativity. Your body literally converts it as such using the placebo effect and epigenetics. Like if you begin to believe certain things about yourself are true, when you begin to process energy, it can become an illness because you manifested and stored it within your body. And the thing about manifesting is, the reason why you're able to manifest your fears so easily is because fear is a negative energy. And you have the faith. You don't have, okay, here's your faith. Your faith in what you fear is so much higher than anything else. You know for sure if that bee comes in contact with you, it's going to sting you. You just know it. You just know it. If that spider, if you let it out your sight, eventually it's going to come back and bite you. You just know it. You have these certain fears. If I fall from this height, I know I'm a goner. If I do these, and these are certain fears that have been instilled with you like since a child. Some of them not even logical fears. You have some illogical fears, and some like irrational fears. And you've had fears since a child all the way until your adulthood. And you've went through traumas and developed fears along the way. And your faith in your fear is so much stronger than your faith in what you manifest or what you believe in, what you would desire to manifest. And even a lot of times, those of who you love or what you love, you don't even have fear or faith in. You have faith in what you fear over anything else. You won't even begin to explore certain fears or face certain fears. You will just, in your mind, you will just know them. This fear exists. This is real. And so this is a negative energy, fear, in the root chakra. And so you're going to manifest, you're going to draw this in using negative energy. And it's because fear is just simply your faith in false evidence appearing real. But your faith in this, it's a negative faith. And it's something you believe in so strongly that it literally alters the chemistry of your body. Like if you have fear, you begin to release adrenaline. You begin to increase your heart rate. Your senses increase. It could lead you to have anxiety, to become shaky. You could change your blood pressure. All these things can happen simply because you have fear. And in each chakra, there's a spirit. And each chakra is a portal. And so, as you open your chakras, you also open them for spirits. The same way if you block them. Fear is something that is not, fear is something that is not supposed to be completely alleviated. But they teach you like to meditate and, alleviate all fear. But the thing about that is fear actually protects you. Fear is also something you can manifest with, because you can manifest with what you fear. Fear is something that can also be used to help you make the right decision or go in the right direction. Fear is something that helps you unlock things within your body as well. Like, if you heard Mike Tyson talk about fighting or his interviews, he talks about how he's scared to death when he goes in the ring. When someone has fear, like if you ever seen the movie Wanted, and when somebody has fear, it causes them to release adrenaline. It causes their heart rate to increase. It causes them to hyper focus, and their abilities of perception sharpen. And so, without fear, you're unable to tap into this. And so it's not a thing about alleviating all fear. It's about balancing each chakra. As long as your ego exists, you will have fears. It's about having healthy fear and not letting things stop you. Never letting fear stop you from anything you want to manifest, or your your day-to-day life, and to have healthy fears. And that's just things that are stupid, that you would do, like, that are stupid, that would and that will result in you having a bad experience. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of all understanding. Why is that? That's because it is you. You did, like, you're responsible for everything in your life. Where you are in life today, you're responsible for it. All the actions that you took, all the thoughts that you had, everything that you said, and all of the actions that you did together are a result of your life right now. That's why the fear of God is the beginning of all understanding. A lot of times we don't know what we're getting ourselves into. Like when you signed up to come married. When you begin to see, like, everything is a reflection of you. Everyone and every being is a reflection of you. And your current reality is a reflection of your actions, thoughts, feelings, and the things you said. throughout your entire life. Up until this point, once you begin to understand that, you understand that the fear of God is the beginning of all wisdom. Because God is within you. That is the conscious energy that is housed in your body, in your temple. You are an extension of God as God or Goddess. God dwells within you. In the beginning of the fear of God is the beginning of all understanding. Fear not those that can only kill the body, but not the soul. Do not fear those who could only kill the body and not the soul. It's you. When there's no enemy outside of you, when there's no enemy within you, there's no enemy outside of you. Everything in your life is based on the relationship that you have with yourself. How you eat, your relationship with food. Do you eat because you're emotional? Do you eat because it tastes good? Do you eat it because it's the healthiest thing and you know it's gonna make you feel good and it's the most nutritious thing for your body? Or do you eat because I got hungry? And this is what I always get. You don't even care what you eat. That'll fill me up. That is a reflection of the relationship that you have with yourself. Do you smoke? What do you smoke? Do you smoke cigarettes? Do you smoke herbs? What do you smoke? Are you trying to quit smoking, but you just can't seem to quit smoking? You feel addicted to it. That's a reflection of the relationship that you have with yourself. Think about how you can't seem to stop doing something that's bad for you. Something you just can't stop doing something that's bad for you. That you know that's bad for you. That's a reflection of the relationship that you have with yourself and self-harm. The relationship that you have with others, whether that relationship with your family, the relationship with your friends, the relationship with your partners, with your spouse, with your significant others, with your person. All of those, the relationship that you have with your children, the relationship you have with your parents, all of those relationships are those. What's in your family? Since we're all reflections of each other, what you see in your family? Those you see in your family are your closest relationship, or what you see in your family are your closest reflections, the closest reflections of you. And that's because they have the same similar DNA, similar upbringing, similar culture, and similar environment. And with all these similarities, and with us already being reflections of one another, those are your closest reflections. And they can actually teach you the most about yourself. And how you have a relationship with everyone is a reflection of how the relationship you have with yourself. Because everyone is you and everything is you. you're everything and you are nothing. The root chakra deals with the ego. I am. Who are you? Are you who they told you you should be? Are you who they wrote? You feel me? They gave you your name. You were born in a country and in a city, or a town, in a state. They told you were this race because of your phenotype, your skin color, your hair texture. They told you were a race. They told you you're from this country and this state. And they gave you a religion. And they gave you a first, middle, and last name, or maybe just a first name, or maybe just a first and a last name. So who are you? I am everything and I am nothing. The moment we say I am is the moment we begin creating the ego. And this is why this is the root chakra. See, in the Bible, where it says you will have 70 years, you're promised 70 years of life. It uses the term 70 or 80. But the verse says you're promised 70 years of life. The reason why we're promised 70 years of life is we're given a decade to work through each of the 7 chakras and reach 7th heaven. And so the first 10 years, you're supposed to be developing your root chakra. That's your family, your foundation, your personality, your ego, everything you know, who you are, and your identity. And this is the same time where everybody's programmed. What do you want to be when you grow up? I don't know. Well, I just learned how to spell my name like 3 weeks ago. But, or, you know, I just learned how to spell my name like, you feel me, last year. This year, you're asking me what do I want to do what I want to do and be for the rest of my life. You know, I don't know. But then you pick it and you stick to it. They give you your name and everything. So who are you? Then when you get into your 20s, this is your sacral chakra. And this is why in between our 20s, we spend so much time having sex. And we're supposed to master creativity and connection and sexuality and reproduction. Within that 10 years, within the 20s. And we see like, this is what they call the whole phase. Like some people call this the whole phase, like in your 20s. At 30, and in your 20s, you're supposed to be creative. You're supposed to be exploring life, going through college, going to see different places, have different jobs, different experiences. You're your own person now. And you know, you're supposed to be exploring life, like even exploring what drugs you like, or like, you know, do I want to drink? Do I want to smoke? Do I want to, you know, weed is legal. Let me try weed. Let me smoke. Let me go drink. You're in your 20s and you're supposed to be experiencing life freely. And this this gives you the creativity of you being able to make all the choices in your life, as opposed to the first 10 years where it's just you. Or your first, or the first, I said first 10 years, or the first 18 or 20 years. The first 18 to 20 years of your life, to where you're not making decisions for yourself. You're pretty much guided, and you're and you're led what to do. As opposed to in your 20s, to where everything's on you, and you begin to get creative, and you have freedom, and you experience sex. And so when you get into your 30s, you then experience things like the biological clock. You hear people talk about the midlife crisis, when they become aware of their own mortality and that they won't be young forever. And things like male's testosterone begins to drop at 30. And so he has to do things like exercise more, or even take supplements to keep his testosterone levels up. Or he does natural things that will force his testosterone levels to come up. And women begin to approach an age of realizing like their bodies don't bounce back as they used to as in their 20s. Like if they wake up and they were to drink, or if they eat something now, like maybe like their stomach might get a bulge, or their leg might get a bulge, or this weight might go to they may wake up and see weight on the waist, or on weight in their hips, or weight in their waist. And they're becoming more aware of how their metabolism is changing and their biological clock, because once they leave the 30s, it could be potentially that this decade, the 30s to the 40s, that in between this decade, that they may hit menopause by the end of this decade. And so the third chakra is also about confidence and vitality. At this age, men and women realize that their mortality and their youth, because their body begins to change, how quickly they heal, how much testosterone, estrogen they produce, their energy levels change, their metabolism changes, and even certain features on their bodies change. And so this affects their confidence. And it also, this is at the level where you see people becoming married, because they should have a confidence in their life or wherever it's leading, because they're 30 years in. And this is where you see people experience a midlife crisis, because they become aware that half of their life has been programmed, the other half of their life has been, they're just living, and they're realizing that, wait, I don't want to do this, or this is not how I imagined it, this is not how I pictured it, or this is wrong, this is all wrong, that's all wrong. But they feel as though they're the age to now, to where it's like now or never, or they have to stay in what they're stuck in. And so the fourth chakra deals with the heart chakra. At this age, you're in your 40s, and the woman may have hit menopause, and the men's fertility may have dropped into a low rate, and his testosterone is dropped, and she may have hit menopause, where her hormones are changing as well. And so during the 40s, this is around the time where your parents may have also died, or they're becoming old. And so this is at the time, like in your 40s, is to where you've experienced life. You've been around the block. You've done pretty much everything. You've seen everything at 40. And in doing so, it's like you're not really excited about a lot in life, or like, to live about life. As far as like what excites most people, like, ooh, this new movie came out, or this, you feel me, this happened, like that. It's like at 40, you really begin to focus on the things that matter. And this is the heart chakra. And so at the age of 40, you've likely lost a lot of family, or you've lost a generation of family, or you may have lost a lot of family, which could be your grandparents in this time in between your 30s and 40s, or your actual parents, or uncles and aunties, or siblings even. And so you begin to focus more on what actually matters, and that's what love is. You also begin to let things go and become more lighter. And you don't really hold on to things as much, because you know that recently experiencing so much death in your 40s, like within your 40s leading to 50, like if your grandparents were old already, or you're either gonna lose your great grandparents, your grandparents, or your parents in that time. And so by the time you reach in your 50s, this is like, like you're not gonna be here forever or for long. And you're already kind of ready, like you fully lived your life. 25 years is a life sentence. Like you fully lived your life, like in your 50s. And you like reminisce over the golden years. But this is also a year up to where the body may even start failing itself. And this is like the truth chakra. So it's just like you being completely like just, hey, this is just what it is. Like it's like, even if you were to start like, your body was failing itself, this is something where you like go and check it, and like, you'd be like, this wouldn't be a point to where it's like you wouldn't even admit it to yourself. It's just like, oh, okay, let's go get that. Let's go get that looked at. Or let me go get these dentures, or let me go get, you feel me? And this is a time of like truth, because it's like even people begin to experience dementia as early as their 50s. And people begin to lose their ego. They begin like everything that their metabolism completely changes at this point again in their 50s. They begin to lose their ego, because it's like everything is different. And some experience dementia.